Hello, Caitlin. I'm going to be reading your paper and talking through it in this video. And you have called your paper Special Education During COVID-19. I choose to write about special education because I'm going for an elementary education degree. I've worked with special education children and I want to learn more about how teachers are still trying to apply their unique needs at home. Throughout my research, I learned that it is tough to meet each child's individual needs, but are doing their best. Do little tweaks and this will be fine. Let's see. I wanted to learn more about teachers still trying to, I think you mean meet their needs, not apply their needs, right? Meet their unique needs. And then throughout my research, I learned that it's tough to meet each child's individual needs, but teachers are doing their best, right? I think that's what you mean. Okay, sounds good. After researching, I found several articles for how teachers are helping special education students in adapting virtually. The first article by Nora Fleming, and it is New Strategies in Special Education as Kids Learn from Home. Nora focused on how kids are adapting to COVID-19. Good, good, good. Special education comes in many ages, different disabilities and abilities. Special education comes in ages. So when you say special education, you're talking about like all of the teaching of people with unusual or less than usual, whatever, atypical needs. What was the sentence? Oh, okay. Special education. So that doesn't come in many different ages. Like special education students come in many ages and have different disabilities and abilities. So maybe that could help you fix it. Parents are also having trouble knowing how to help their children. Special education students are used to specialized coaching cues or sensory activities to keep them on track. Special education do well with the structure of a school day. So I would tweak that to say many special education students do well with the structure of a school day. Anytime you're presenting an argument like that, I mean, I think in my experience, it seems true that generally that's the case. But it sounds like you're saying all special education students do well, and of course that's not true. So anytime you can just throw in like many or something like that, then like I know that you are definitely correct because for sure many of them do. There are multiple ways that teachers can assist them. Phone calls to parents and asking questions, for example. Will parents be home all day? Will they be working while at home? Is internet available? What electronic devices can students use? Is there space in the home set aside for gross motor and sensory activities? Good. Questions like these can help the general and special education teachers know how to plan and do virtually. Maybe you mean just how to plan, right? Because we know they're going to be working virtually. They will work with the families to accommodate the IEP goals. Federal regulations understand. Oh, this feels like a new paragraph because this paragraph so far is very long. I think this is a new paragraph. The federal regulations understand that teachers need to have flexibility during the pandemic, and teachers do their best to accommodate students. I mean, yeah, probably. I'm not really sure why you feel like you need to say that exactly. That teachers are doing their best. I don't know. Why is that a part of the argument? Maybe I'll read some more and it'll make sense to me that is necessary. Special education students do best when there is a routine. Again, I would say many of them do better when there's a routine. You know, there's always a few. Some teachers recommend a daily list of activities for the child to do, but sometimes it can seem impossible if the parent cannot help and is working. Sure, some special needs students need sensory modification and support. Teachers tell parents, teacher said parents. Okay, you're doubled up on that. So you can use for your words, teachers tell parents. And then what do they tell parents? They tell parents, use simple objects. So you can cut out the first 4 words of your quote and then go right into it. Could use simple objects like colored Play-Doh and bubble wrap or brain-based games like Jenga if students need to release energy. Because this is it's a nice quote to use. Rice and beans placed inside pockets can substitute as a weighted vest or a blanket. Give me side issue. I really want to get one of those blankets, man. My sister has one. She loves it. While writing and drawing in a shaving cream. Wait. Rice and beans can be substitute as a weighted vest or a blanket to provide some security. While writing and drawing in shaving cream can reduce tension while boosting language development. Even hugs, deep breathing, or allowing child to run outside can help. Hugs. Okay. After your quote, you need to comment on it. You, yeah, I'm gonna say always. You pretty much always need to set up your quote, which you did beautifully with teachers tell parents. But then you also have to like sum it up to connect it back to what you said, so that it's not just like, here's what this other person said, moving right along. Like, first you need to say something like, okay, teachers told us parents, blah, blah, blah. Any of these activities could be blah, 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 blah. These activities are blah, 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 blah. Something in your own words, because otherwise we just feel like you introduced this person and then you just kind of walked away without explaining what the point of that was. I don't feel like I explained that very well, but I tried. I think special education needs to be in class. I believe that parents will be frustrated because there are still parents who have a full-time job. So they're parents with an S. I think you mean they have full-time jobs. Parents may not have the time for the child to do school for them too. Oh God, yes. I know if I were special education required intensive help in learning, for example, reading below grade level, I would need my parents to read with me, and they may not have the time. The second article is by Stein, Perry, and Valerie Strauss. This article provided information from parents, students. Wait, this article provided information. Yeah. You can fix that. Antoine Gibb, a teacher, did not even attempt to teach his students virtually in 2020. A student, I just read your annotated bit about this. A student that is 18 years old has an intellectual disability performing math and reading below grade level. Since March 18 has not been to school and requires his family to now break down words into multi-syllabic words. Is a sixth grader, so dyslexia and ADHD. I would be a high-performing student in the classroom who is working with virtual learning. Okay, you gotta fix something there because I'm totally confused. Okay, but coming back to it, he had become lost with confidence in his classroom. Parents were becoming frustrated because their children are not getting the help they need. They're falling behind academically and losing developmental milestones in their education. Parents are becoming concerned that their child's unique needs are not being considered. The parents think there is still a way to help them online, even if the population was not ready for children in the classroom? You mean the the society was not ready? The conditions with the virus meant that it wasn't okay for children to be in the classroom? Maybe something more like that. When special needs children went online, it was very hard for them because people with physical therapy or occupational needs cannot meet those needs like they would in the classroom. Parents were untrained and able to help their children at home. This summer, they worked on a plan to help children with special needs virtually. They were going to have mental health, occupational, and physical therapists online to help students with their needs. Some states permit some states permit easing of IEP requirements in hopes of making it easier for service providers to work virtually. Okay, here's another place that you have a quote, which is definitely a solid one, but I don't, as a reader, I'm like, why are we suddenly listening to John Eisenberg? Why is he suddenly talking about IEP requirements? So you must have a sentence before this that explains and sets up, okay, here's some of the legal stuff that's happened around this issue. Then explain legal stuff. And then explain what you explained. That is kind of how it goes, though. Parents have a full-time job helping their children with classwork. If parents need to work, their child misses classes and meetings with specialists. Some parents said the virtual sessions were so ineffective they just skipped them. So here you set up the quote. Parents have a full-time job helping their children with classwork. There you go. That's what you want to do. That is set up. High less confidence with parents having to learn to love learning. The teachers encourage parents to take them grocery shopping, set the table, but only 50% of the kids at school try to be flexible as possible. The kids still do not want to participate. I think the parents who already have an occupation cannot take full-time as a special needs provider. When they graduate, I understand they always figure out what to do. But they still need assistance, time to figure it out. Institute school is not a daycare. Parents cannot learn their child's learning habits overnight. I know that a parent should try, but some may not have the time. Absolutely. The next article that provides information. Sorry, time check. Okay. That provides information for special education is by Perry Class. I think this article provided real examples from personal experience from parents. Francesca Eliza is a parent with a 9-year-old boy with autism spectrum disorder, attention deficit, etc. Her son was in a Bedford, Mass. program, a school designed for children with autism. Her son was a part of regular education class and a special education for third grade. He could join the traditional education in the morning, and for academic subjects, he had a dedicated aide. Okay, you didn't set this one up. Okay, he could join them for academic subjects. You need to set up this quote also somehow. Maybe something like, he could join the traditional education classroom in the morning for academic subjects, period. However, comma, he had a blah, 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 then you use your quote, right? COVID-19 hit, and our son was still excited to learn and be at home. When the education classes started virtually, he did well. He was excited about the computer side of learning instead of having to wake up early for school. So was I. The problems began when teachers started to give him and his mother things to do at home together. His mother says he started becoming very aggressive. He didn't want to work with me. He didn't want me to help with his problems. He wanted me to give him answers. It came to the point of anger that he started hitting his mom. Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible. And also, these are things that the special ed teachers struggle with too. I mean, I know because I've seen them struggle with these things, right? They don't want to work with you. They don't want you to help. They just want you to give them the answers. I was just having that experience with my niece that I've been staying with. Anyway, many children have academic and social issues being at home, but for kids with developmental challenges, the challenges could exacerbate. COVID certainly said, blah, 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 blah. Children start, you don't need a quote there. Right, got a stray quotation mark after medicine. Children started to become uninterested. Children were throwing fits, an outburst of crying, and signs that they were emotionally dysregulated. I think this can come from the stress of online learning, which even in college, I got stressed to the point of crying. The developmental progress is at a halt because children are not excited and they are throwing these fits due to online learning. They're not around with the kids, interacting, learning social skills, and becoming a problem, especially for special needs. Yeah, usually, although I mean, some of them are around other kids because they have siblings, right? The general advice to parents is to build as much structure and consistency as possible. These tend to be better children who do better with set times for sleep and meals. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. And here's another quote. This needs to be the main thing that you're working on, is making sure your quotes are set up, and then you put them in there, and then you explain why they're important afterwards. So, becoming a problem, especially for special needs. Parents are advised to, right? Those could be your own words. Parents are advised to. And then your quote could start with, quote, build as much structure, blah, 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 blah. And then you need to explain, how do you feel about that? Like, is that helpful? Is that not helpful? Because otherwise it's sort of like the quote interrupts you, like some other person just showing up in your discussion and is like, ah, and then just walks away. I think children's emotional stress is very real. I exposed to emotional stress, and I'm an ordinary learning college student. I think it's like typical, maybe, rather than ordinary. I could not even imagine an elementary, high school special educator. I think the parents are struggling. Teachers do not condense. They don't condense. They don't understand that parents have jobs and some are physically exerting, maybe. It's hard for parents to learn their child's learning needs and do not specialize in it. And who do not specialize in. And parents do not specialize in it, to become challenging and frustrating for parents' children. When parents get involved and the parents start to do things for them, they see that they have to do it, and the children don't want to learn. They want to do the work. I can see that this issue is not cited, and I think teachers are doing the best they can to fit each child's specific needs. So I feel like at the end you were repeating yourself to some extent. You need to throw in your page numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, yours is plenty long enough, so you don't have to worry about doing that. You can make it a little bit shorter. So here's just one thing I'll throw in because my mom happens to be a para. We're still considering. Your paper is, I think, exclusively focused on the problems that students with special needs are having during the pandemic. And it's not considering, it's okay, but your paper is not considering anything about how many problems, how much suffering, how much exposure to the virus is worth it in order to get these students what they need. I mean, you didn't have to cover that in this paper for sure, but I feel like the whole paper is kind of leading me to be thinking about that, right? So maybe you'll get into that later.